Welcome to a fun, interactive way to master everyday American idioms. Perfect for your commute, a quiet break, or a relaxing moment before bed. This is Lesson 2. Let's begin. 101. All over the map. This expression means lacking focus or consistency. Scattered. Example sentence. The discussion was all over the map, jumping from topic to topic. It originated from a mid-20th century American variation of all over the board, drawing on the image of a map, covered with widely dispersed points and no clear direction. 102. All over the place. This expression means widely scattered or lacking organization. Example sentence. His notes were all over the place, making it hard to follow his argument. It originated from an idiom in use since at least the 19th century, based on the literal picture of objects spread everywhere without order. 103. All roads lead to Rome. This expression means there are many ways to achieve the same result. Example sentence. No matter how you approach the problem, all roads lead to Rome. It originated from a proverb rooted in the Roman Empire, whose extensive road system connected distant regions back to the capital city of Rome. 104. All set. This expression means ready or prepared. Example sentence. We're all set for the meeting this afternoon. It came into common use in early 20th century American English, likely influenced by military and aviation language, where equipment was declared set before action. 105. All sizzle and no steak. This expression means something that looks or sounds impressive but lacks substance. Example sentence. The new product launch was all sizzle and no steak. Plenty of hype, but no real quality. It grew out of mid-20th century American slang, contrasting the appealing sound of steak sizzling with the disappointment of having no actual meat. 106. All talk and no trousers. This expression means full of promises or claims, but lacking action or follow-through. Example sentence. He always boasts about his plans, but he's all talk and no trousers. It developed in British English, particularly in Northern England, as a humorous way to describe someone who makes big claims without substance. 107. All that jazz. This expression means and similar things, everything related. Example sentence. I'm cleaning the house, doing laundry, and all that jazz. It emerged in early 20th century America, borrowing the lively, varied spirit of jazz music to suggest extras or related things. 108. All the marbles. This expression means the ultimate prize or reward. Example sentence. This match is for all the marbles. It traces back to American children's marble games, in which the winner would sometimes keep all the marbles in play. 109. All the rage. This expression means very popular or trendy. Example sentence. These shoes are all the rage this season. It dates to the 19th century, when rage described a fashion or enthusiasm that swept through society. 110. All the same. This expression means regardless of what was said before. Equally. Example sentence. I was tired, but I went to the party all the same. It has been used since at least the 18th century to indicate that a prior condition does not change the outcome. 111. All the tea in China. This expression means a large or seemingly infinite amount of something. Example sentence. I wouldn't marry him for all the tea in China. It arose in 19th century Britain, when tea from China was an extremely valuable commodity and symbolized immense wealth. 112. All things being equal. This expression means assuming no other factors change. Example sentence. All things being equal, we should finish the project by next month. It stems from the Latin phrase ceteris paribus, long used in economics and philosophy to indicate that other conditions remain constant. 113. All things considered. This expression means taking all factors into account. Example sentence. All things considered, the event went well despite the weather. It entered English usage by the 18th century as a way to introduce a balanced evaluation. 114. All thumb. This expression means clumsy or awkward with one's hands. Example sentence. I'm all thumbs when it comes to assembling furniture. It developed in 20th century American slang, suggesting that having only thumbs would make fine tasks difficult. 115. All told. This expression means taking everything into account in total. Example sentence. All told, the repairs cost over $500. It dates back to the 18th century and originally meant everything counted up. 116. All very well. This expression means satisfactory to a point, but not enough. Example sentence. It's all very well to talk about helping, but we need concrete action. It has been used in British English since the 18th or 19th century, often to introduce polite disagreement or limitation. 117. All walks of life. This expression means people from every social, economic, or professional background. Example sentence. People from all walks of life attended the charity event. It arose in the 19th century, comparing different life experiences to various paths or walks one might take. 118. Along the lines of. This expression means similar to, in a similar style or manner. Example sentence. I'm thinking of a design along the lines of the one we used last year. It developed in the late 19th or early 20th century, using the metaphor of parallel lines to suggest similarity. 119. American dream. This expression means the ideal that everyone has the opportunity for success and upward mobility through hard work. Example sentence. Owning their own home is part of their American dream. It was popularized in 1931 by historian James Truslow Adams, who described it as the belief in opportunity and a better life for all citizens. 120. An apple a day. This expression means a reminder that consistent, small efforts contribute to long-term health. Example sentence. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It comes from a 19th century Welsh proverb that originally encouraged daily apple eating to avoid medical bills. 121. An awful lot. This expression means a very large amount. Example sentence. She spent an awful lot of time on that project. It emerged in 20th century colloquial English, where awful intensified the idea of quantity rather than negativity. 122. An early bird. This expression means a person who rises early or acts promptly. Example sentence. She's an early bird who always gets to the office before everyone else. It derives from the 17th century proverb, the early bird catches the worm, encouraging promptness and initiative. 123. An eye for an eye. This expression means a principle of justice, in which punishment matches the offense. Example sentence. Some people believe in an eye for an eye, while others advocate forgiveness. It comes from the Bible, specifically Exodus 21:24, expressing the ancient idea of proportional justice. 124. An offer one can't refuse. This expression means a deal or proposal so attractive or intimidating that it must be accepted. Example sentence. They made him an offer he couldn't refuse. It became widely known through the 1972 film The Godfather, where the phrase implied an offer backed by threat. 125. Ancient history. This expression means something long past and no longer relevant. Example sentence. That argument we had last year is ancient history. It has been used since the 19th century, originally referring to events of ancient civilizations, before being applied figuratively to outdated matters. 126. And all that. This expression means, and everything else related to what was just mentioned. Example sentence. We'll need cups, plates, napkins, and all that. Origin. This 20th century English phrase developed as a relaxed way to wrap up a list without naming every single item. It became especially common in casual speech, where sounding natural matters more than being precise. 127. And change. This expression means plus a small unspecified additional amount. Example sentence. The meal cost $20 and change. Origin. This informal American phrase grew out of everyday cash transactions. After paying with bills, people received coins as change, and the expression became a quick way to avoid stating the exact sense. 128. And counting. This expression means a number that continues to grow. Example sentence. The company has 500 employees and counting. Origin. The phrase comes from the literal act of counting upward. It became widely used in news headlines and television to highlight numbers that keep increasing, such as records or population totals. 129. And his mother. This expression means everyone or nearly everyone. Example sentence. Everyone and his mother showed up to the sale. Origin. This humorous mid-20th century American exaggeration adds his mother to make the crowd sound even larger, suggesting that practically the whole world showed up. 130. And so forth. This expression means, and similar things, etc. Example sentence. We'll need snacks, drinks, decorations, and so forth. Origin. This long-established English phrase dates back several centuries and was commonly used in formal writing to signal that a list could continue. 131. And so on. This expression means, and similar things, etc. Example sentence. He talked about the budget, timelines, deliverables, and so on. Origin. Used since at least the 18th century, this phrase became a more conversational alternative to and so forth. 132. And the like. This expression means similar things, items of a similar kind. Example sentence. The report included charts, graphs, and the like. Origin. Coming from early modern English, this phrase uses like to refer to things of the same category, especially in academic or formal speech. 133. And then some. This expression means plus more. Additionally. Example sentence. We paid what was expected, and then some. Origin. This lively 20th century American phrase emphasizes exceeding expectations. It became popular in sports commentary, where teams would win by a comfortable margin, and then some. 134. Angel's advocate. This expression means a person who argues in favor of a good idea, as opposed to a devil's advocate. Example sentence. I'll be the angel's advocate here, and highlight the benefits of the plan. Origin. This modern playful spin reverses devil's advocate, a historical role in the Catholic Church, where someone argued against canonizing a saint. Angel's advocate humorously argues in favor instead. 135. Angle for. This expression means to try to obtain something by using hints, schemes, or indirect means. Example sentence. She's clearly angling for a promotion with all the extra projects she's taking on. Origin. The phrase comes from fishing. To angle means to fish with a hook and line, so angling for something suggests patiently trying to hook an opportunity. 136. Another nail in one's coffin. This expression means a factor that contributes to someone's downfall or demise. Example sentence. The scandal was another nail in his coffin. Origin. Dating back to the 19th century, the phrase draws on the image of hammering nails into a coffin lid. Each new problem metaphorically seals the outcome further. 137. Answer back. This expression means to respond rudely or defiantly to someone in authority. Example sentence. Don't answer back to your teacher. Origin. Used since at least the 19th century, the phrase often appeared in strict households, where children were expected to remain silent rather than argue. 138. Ants in your pants. This expression means restlessness or nervous excitement. Example sentence. The kids had ants in their pants, waiting for the carnival to start. Origin. This humorous mid-20th century American expression imagines the discomfort of ants crawling inside clothing, creating a vivid and funny image of fidgeting. 139. Any port in a storm. This expression means, in desperate circumstances, one must accept any available solution, even if it's not ideal. Example sentence. We didn't like the hotel, but it was any port in a storm. Origin. This nautical expression dates to the 18th century, when ships caught in violent storms would head to the nearest harbor, regardless of preference, because survival came first. 140. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry. This expression means any ordinary or undistinguished person. Example sentence. They let just any Tom, Dick, or Harry join the club. Origin. Dating back to 16th century England, the phrase uses three extremely common male names to represent the average person. 141. Apple of one's eye. This expression means a person or thing that is very dear to someone. Example sentence. Her grandson is the apple of her eye. Origin. This biblical phrase originally referred to the pupil of the eye, considered precious and carefully protected, symbolizing something cherished above all else. 142. Apples and oranges. This expression means two things that are so different they cannot be compared. Example sentence. You can't compare their sales strategy to ours. It's apples and oranges. Origin. While comparisons of unlike things are older, this modern phrasing became common in late 20th century American English, using two similar-looking fruits to highlight obvious differences. 143. Apply some elbow grease. This expression means to put in hard physical effort. Example sentence. You'll need to apply some elbow grease to get that stain out. Origin. Dating back to the 17th century, the phrase humorously suggests that real cleaning grease comes from hard work at the elbow, not from a bottle. 144. Arm candy. This expression means an attractive person accompanying someone, often used to enhance their social image. Example sentence. He showed up at the party with a movie star as his arm candy. Origin. Emerging in the late 20th century, the phrase compares a visually appealing companion to candy, something pleasing to look at and proudly displayed. 145. Armed to the teeth. This expression means fully prepared or equipped, especially with weapons. Example sentence. The soldiers were armed to the teeth before going into battle. Origin. The phrase dates back to the 17th century. Some accounts suggest pirates and soldiers carried weapons everywhere, even gripping knives between their teeth while climbing. 146. Around the clock. This expression means continuing non-stop throughout the day and night. Example sentence. The team worked around the clock to finish the project. Origin. This expression refers to the continuous circular movement of a clock's hands over 24 hours, symbolizing non-stop effort. 147. As American as apple pie. This expression means something that is quintessentially American. Example sentence. Baseball is as American as apple pie. Origin. Although apple pie originated in Europe, it became strongly associated with American identity in the 20th century, especially during World War II, when soldiers claimed they fought for mom and apple pie. 148. As broad as it's long. This expression means there's no meaningful difference. It amounts to the same thing. Example sentence. Whether we take the bus or the train, it's as broad as it's long. Origin. This older English phrase uses geometry as a metaphor. If something is equal in width and length, neither dimension has an advantage. 149. As far as I can throw someone. This expression means not trusting someone very much, or at all. Example sentence. I wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him. Origin. This 20th century American exaggeration uses physical ability as a metaphor for trust. Since most people cannot throw someone very far, it humorously implies very little trust. 150. As fit as a fiddle. This expression means in excellent physical condition. Example sentence. After months of training, she's as fit as a fiddle. Origin. Dating back to the 16th century, fit once meant well-suited or properly arranged. A fiddle must be precisely tuned to sound right, so the phrase came to describe someone in perfect condition. 151. As keen as a hawk. This expression means extremely observant or eager. Example sentence. The detective's eyes were as keen as a hawk's. Origin. This expression comes from the well-known sharp eyesight of hawks, which can spot small prey from great distances. The bird's intense focus and precision made it a natural comparison for alert, perceptive people. 152. As keen as mustard. This expression means very enthusiastic or eager. Example sentence. He was as keen as mustard to start the new job. Origin. This British phrase dates back to the 17th century. Mustard was famous for its sharp, biting flavor, and that energetic kick became a playful way to describe someone bursting with enthusiasm. 153. As long as one's arm. This expression means very lengthy, usually referring to a list or explanation. Example sentence. The list of rules is as long as your arm. Origin. This 19th century English expression uses the visible length of a person's arm as a simple comparison. Before precise measurements were common, body parts were often used as everyday references. 154. As old as the hills. This expression means very old or ancient. Example sentence. That story is as old as the hills. Origin. The phrase gained popularity in the 18th century and compares something to hills and mountains, which appear timeless and unchanging in the landscape. 155. As pale as a ghost. This expression means extremely pale, often due to shock or illness. Example sentence. He turned as pale as a ghost when he heard the bad news. Origin. Ghosts, in folklore, were traditionally described as white or colorless figures. The comparison became a vivid way to describe someone drained of color by fear or sickness. 156. As pale as ashes. This expression means very pale, lacking color. Example sentence. She looked as pale as ashes after staying up all night. Origin. Ashes are gray and lifeless after a fire burns out. Writers used this image in poetry and prose to describe a face drained of vitality. 157. As pale as death. This expression means extremely pale, as though lifeless. Example sentence. He went as pale as death when he saw the accident. Origin. Early English literature often associated death with a loss of color and warmth. The simile emphasizes sudden shock or extreme fear. 158. As poor as a church mouse. This expression means extremely poor, with no resources. Example sentence. After paying all her bills, she felt as poor as a church mouse. Origin. Dating back to the 17th century, the phrase reflects the idea that churches had no kitchens or food storage, so a mouse living there would find very little to eat. The image adds a touch of humor to hardship. 159. As red as a cherry. This expression means very red in color. Example sentence. Her face turned as red as a cherry when she tripped on stage. Origin. Cherry's bright red color made them a natural comparison in 19th century English similes, especially when describing embarrassment. 160. Asleep at the wheel. This expression means not paying attention or failing to fulfill responsibilities. Example sentence. The supervisor was asleep at the wheel, and the project fell behind. Origin. This 20th century metaphor comes from driving. Falling asleep while steering a vehicle is dangerous, so the phrase became a strong image for negligence or lack of attention. 161. At a low ebb. This expression means in a weak or declining state. Example sentence. His energy was at a low ebb after working late. Origin. The expression comes from the nautical term ebb tide, when the sea is at its lowest level. Sailors used it literally, and it later came to describe declining fortunes or spirits. 162. At death's door. This expression means close to dying, gravely ill. Example sentence. She looked like she was at death's door after the long illness. Origin. Used since the 16th century, the phrase imagines someone standing at the threshold of death, as if about to step through a doorway. 163. At each other's throats. This expression means engaged in a heated argument or conflict. Example sentence. The siblings were at each other's throats over the inheritance. Origin. This 19th century metaphor draws from physical fighting, where grabbing someone's throat signals intense hostility. 164. At loggerheads. This expression means in strong disagreement or conflict. Example sentence. The two departments are at loggerheads over the budget cuts. Origin. The word loggerhead once referred to a heavy iron tool used for heating tar, and later to a stubborn or thick-headed person. The phrase evolved to describe a serious clash of opinions. 165. At long last. This expression means finally, after a long time. Example sentence. At long last, the concert began after several delays. Origin. Dating back to the 16th century, the phrase emphasizes relief after a prolonged wait. 166. At one's wit's end. This expression means extremely frustrated or out of ideas. Example sentence. I've tried everything. I'm at my wit's end. Origin. The phrase comes from the 16th century, when wits referred to one's mental faculties. Reaching the end of one's wits meant exhausting all one's thinking power. 167. At sea. This expression means confused, unsure, or lost. Example sentence. I felt completely at sea during the technical discussion. Origin. Since the 16th century, the open sea has symbolized uncertainty and lack of direction. Without clear landmarks, sailors could easily become disoriented. 168. At sixes and sevens. This expression means in a state of confusion or disorder. Example sentence. The office was at sixes and sevens after the new software launch. Origin. The phrase dates back to 14th century dice games, where rolling certain numbers created risky or uncertain outcomes. Over time, it came to describe general chaos. 169. At the 11th hour. This expression means at the last possible moment. Example sentence. They submitted their application at the 11th hour. Origin. This comes from the Bible, specifically the parable of the workers in Matthew 20, where laborers hired at the final hour of the day still received full wages, linking the 11th hour with the very last moment. 170. At the drop of a hat. This expression means immediately, without hesitation. Example sentence. She's willing to help at the drop of a hat. Origin. In 19th century sporting events and duels, dropping a hat was sometimes used as a signal to begin. The phrase came to mean acting instantly once the signal is given. 171. At the end of one's rope. This expression means at the limit of one's patience or ability to cope. Example sentence. He was at the end of his rope after dealing with constant delays. Origin. This 19th century American expression originally referred to a tethered animal that could move only as far as its rope allowed. Once it reached the end, it could go no further. 172. At the end of the day. This expression means when everything is taken into consideration, ultimately. Example sentence. At the end of the day, the company's success depends on its employees. Origin. The phrase gained popularity in the mid-20th century, especially in business and political speech, emphasizing final conclusions after discussion. 173. At your earliest convenience. This expression means as soon as you are able. Example sentence. Please reply at your earliest convenience. Origin. This polite business phrase dates back to the 19th century and frequently appeared in formal letters, reflecting the etiquette of written correspondence. 174. Babe in the woods. This expression means a naive or inexperienced person. Example sentence. In business negotiations, he was a babe in the woods. Origin. The phrase comes from a 16th century English ballad about two children abandoned in a forest. The image of innocent children lost in the woods became a symbol of vulnerability and inexperience. 175. Babe magnet. This expression means a person or thing that is particularly attractive to women. Example sentence. His new sports car is a real babe magnet. Origin. This modern North American slang term likely emerged in the late 20th century. The word magnet, humorously, suggests something that irresistibly attracts attention. 176. Babysitter test. This expression means a simple method to evaluate how user-friendly or straightforward something is. Example sentence. If your website passes the babysitter test, it means anyone can use it. Origin. This modern phrase suggests that if even a teenager hired to babysit can understand or operate something without instructions, then it must be simple and intuitive. It reflects contemporary tech culture's focus on ease of use. 177. Back against the wall. This expression means in a difficult situation with few or no options. Example sentence. With the deadline approaching, our backs are against the wall. Origin. The phrase likely grew out of 19th century military imagery. A soldier with his back literally against the wall has nowhere to retreat, symbolizing a last stand or desperate position. 178. Back and forth. This expression means moving repeatedly between 2 points, a series of exchanges or changes. Example sentence. The negotiations went back and forth for weeks. Origin. Used since at least the 18th century, this straightforward directional phrase described physical movement before expanding to cover repeated discussions or changes of opinion. 179. Back at you. This expression means a friendly or emphatic return of a greeting, sentiment, or statement. Example sentence. Have a great weekend. Back at ya. Origin. This 20th century American colloquialism mirrors the idea of tossing something back to someone, turning a compliment, or wish right back in a playful way. 180. Back burner. This expression means a lower priority, something temporarily put aside. Example sentence. Let's put that project on the back burner until next quarter. Origin. The phrase comes from kitchen stoves, where food placed on the back burner cooks more slowly and receives less attention than dishes in front. 181. Back in the day. This expression means referring to a past time, often nostalgically. Example sentence. Back in the day, we didn't have smartphones. Origin. Popularized in late 20th century North America, especially in music and storytelling, the phrase adds a warm, nostalgic tone when talking about earlier times. 182. Back of beyond. This expression means a very remote or inaccessible place. Example sentence. They moved to a cabin in the back of beyond. Origin. This 19th century British phrase paints a picture of a place so far away, it seems beyond everything familiar or civilized. 183. Back office. This expression means the part of a company where administrative or support tasks are performed. Example sentence. The back office handles payroll and record keeping. Origin. In early 20th century businesses, customer-facing work happened in the front office, while paperwork and bookkeeping were done in rooms at the back, giving rise to the term. 184. Back on one's feet. This expression means recovering after a difficulty, usually financial or health-related. Example sentence. After the accident, it took him months to get back on his feet. Origin. The image comes from physically standing up after a fall. By the 19th century, it symbolized regaining strength, stability, or independence. 185. Back the wrong horse. This expression means to support a losing option or person. Example sentence. I backed the wrong horse in the election. Origin. Drawn from 19th century British horse racing, where betting on the wrong horse meant losing money. The phrase expanded to politics and business decisions. 186. Back to square one. This expression means to start over completely. Example sentence. The software failed, so we're back to square one. Origin. The phrase may come from early board games or from radio broadcasts of soccer matches, where the field was divided into numbered squares for commentary. Returning to square one meant starting again. 187. Back to the drawing board. This expression means to start planning again after failure. Example sentence. The first plan didn't work, so it's back to the drawing board. Origin. The phrase became popular after a 1941 cartoon in The New Yorker showed an engineer whose failed invention forced him back to his design plans. 188. Back to the salt mine. This expression means returning to work or a difficult task. Example sentence. After the holiday break, it's back to the salt mine. Origin. Inspired by the harsh labor conditions of salt mining in earlier centuries, the phrase humorously exaggerates the hardship of going back to work. 189. Backing and filling. This expression means hesitating or frequently changing direction. Example sentence. The candidate was backing and filling on the issue. Origin. An 18th century nautical term. It described adjusting sails in opposite directions to control a ship's movement. Figuratively, it came to mean wavering or indecision. 190. Backseat driver. This expression means someone who gives unwanted advice or tries to control a situation they are not responsible for. Example sentence. He's such a backseat driver, always telling me how to do my job. Origin. With the rise of automobiles in the 20th century, passengers sitting in the back seat sometimes criticized the driver's decisions, leading to this metaphor. 191. Bad apple. This expression means a person who negatively influences others. Example sentence. One bad apple can spoil the whole team's morale. Origin. The phrase comes from the proverb, one bad apple spoils the bunch, based on the real observation that one rotten apple can cause others nearby to decay more quickly. 192. Bad blood. This expression means hostility or resentment between people. Example sentence. There's bad blood between the rival companies. Origin. In early medical theory, illness was blamed on bad blood. Over time, the idea shifted metaphorically to describe strained relationships. 193. Bad egg. This expression means a dishonest or unreliable person. Example sentence. He turned out to be a bad egg at work. Origin. In the early 19th century, discovering a rotten egg was an unpleasant surprise. The phrase transferred that disappointment to people of questionable character. 194. Bad taste in the mouth. This expression means a lingering feeling of discomfort or dissatisfaction. Example sentence. The way he spoke to her left a bad taste in my mouth. Origin. Borrowed from the physical sensation of tasting something unpleasant, this 19th century metaphor conveys emotional disgust or regret. 195. Bag of tricks. This expression means a collection of useful methods or skills. Example sentence. The magician always has a new trick in his bag of tricks. Origin. The phrase evokes the literal bag, carried by magicians or performers, filled with props. It later came to represent any reserve of strategies or talents. 196. Bail out. This expression means to rescue someone from trouble or to leave a difficult situation. Example sentence. The government had to bail out the struggling banks. Origin. The term originally referred to removing water from a boat to prevent sinking. In aviation, it later meant parachuting from an aircraft. Both senses involve escaping danger. 197. Ball and chain. This expression means a burden or restraint, sometimes jokingly, a spouse. Example sentence. He jokingly called his wedding ring a ball and chain. Origin. The phrase refers to the heavy iron ball and chain, once attached to prisoners' ankles to prevent escape, symbolizing restriction or lack of freedom. 198. Ball is in somebody's court. This expression means it is someone else's responsibility to act next. Example sentence. I've made my decision. Now the ball is in your court. Origin. Borrowed from tennis, the phrase describes the moment when the ball lands on the opponent's side, making it their turn to respond. 199. Ballpark figure. This expression means an approximate estimate. Example sentence. Can you give me a ballpark figure for the repair costs? Origin. In baseball, a ballpark refers to the general playing field area. By the 20th century, the term came to suggest something within a reasonable range, rather than exact precision. 200. Bang for your buck. This expression means getting good value for money spent. Example sentence. This new laptop gives you the most bang for your buck. Origin. The phrase emerged in 1950s. American military discussions about maximizing weapon power for each dollar spent. Bang referred to explosive force, while buck meant money, and it later broadened to everyday spending.